thoughts on trust, because trust is so critical for a team. Trust is the bedrock of any team. If we can't trust each other on a team, we will never become a high performing team or a team that accomplishes much. A team that doesn't trust can get along and it can work through different processes and procedures and issues, but it'll never uh, really amount to a whole lot. We're never going to have some outstanding outcomes from that team. So in trust, there's always a lot of people saying this is how to build trust, that's how to build trust. But I think Lencioni brings it down to a core concept here. And the most important action that a leader must take to encourage the building of trust on a team is to demonstrate vulnerability first. And I would even say that is a necessity. So if you're going to have a team that trusts one another, they have to first trust you. And in order to create that trust, the leader, you have to demonstrate vulnerability. And I saw this when I became the leader for learning and development team at Palmdale. What happened was we had a huge project ahead of us. I was able to map out kind of the overall vision that different organizations want. So kind of what we had to meet as a training team, but I had no idea how to get there. So that's what I asked our team. I brought everybody together, and everybody had different strengths and weaknesses within the team. And I mapped out the overall vision, but then I asked them to, so now how do we get there? What's the how? You're the experts. You have great expertise. How do we get there? How do we disseminate the work? And the minute I did that, you kind of see a change in the team where we went to a mission-oriented, and we've talked about that earlier here. We went to a mission-oriented mentality where we all began to trust each other, because I told them that I wasn't able to, just dictate orders and tell people what to do. I showed my vulnerability by telling them, hey, I'm the leader and I don't know exactly how to get here, so I need your help. And by doing that, that team turned into a fantastic high-performing team within a matter of months. So it was pretty amazing to watch. So I wish I would have heard that, heard Lencioni's quote prior to doing that, and then I would have known it had a purpose behind it, because I just did it because that's where I was at, and I didn't know how to get there, and I thought that actually saying that would actually backfire, but it didn't. That is so important to show that vulnerability, because they need to know that they're not following a robot or somebody that's just following the company line. They're actually a part of the process. So, and then we also talk about clarity and over communication. And as Lencioni brought out in one of the videos you watched, is that no one ever quit over communication, but they would quit over under communication. And think about communication, because it may seem very repetitive, because we'll tell 10 people the same thing. So we've said it 10 times, but each one of those people have only heard it once. So we have to kind of desensitize ourselves to that in order to over communicate. Because think of it from a marketing perspective. Whenever you enter into marketing or advertising, people need to hear things a minimum of 3 times before they have any real recognition or possibility of action. Like if you buy a radio ad for a business, people have to hear it at least 3 times before they take any action. They're not going to take that action on the first time. So it's just interesting on how we see the communication, because let's say we tell 100 people twice, so we've said the same thing 200 times, but each person needs to hear it at least 3. So we have to say it to those same 100 people at least one more time. So we've heard it 3 times ourselves say it, and they've only heard it that 3 times, and then we could think of them as possibly taking a deeper action for this. So the only reason why I bring that up is because oftentimes we can think as a leader, man, I'm saying this too much, and we're really not, because not everybody's hearing it every time that you say it. So just think of it from a marketing perspective. Communicate with clarity, of course. And when we do that, we talked about trust earlier. If we have that consistent message and we say the same thing over and over and over again, that begins to build trust too. So that's another huge trust builder. And we're going to gain buy-in from everybody on our team as well. So there's so many positives for over communication that to me, it's a necessity, especially in training. If you have a key point in a training program you're making, you want to strike that key point multiple times throughout the training session and strike that key point, not just saying it, but find other ways to hit that key point. Maybe it's a certain way graphic is presented. Maybe they're teaching, the point, so they learned it. Now they're going to learn by teaching as well. So hitting those points over and over and over again for training is ultimately extremely important. And then we're going to talk about core values in the hiring process. I love this piece because when I was hired as a trainer, the reason why I was hired is what my manager told me down the road was that they wouldn't even think anybody that didn't have the appropriate skills. So that was the first thing. But in order to get hired in, you have to have the same core values. So I was hired from core values, and then they were the skunk work core values: hard work, ability to work individually, ability to work in a team, things like that. So those matter a lot because the core value is going to find that fit. And we've been talking about trust. Imagine if core values were different between people met the core values of the company differently or did not fit the core values of the company would be critical. So if we have somebody that doesn't fit the core values of the company and we hire them, what is that going to do to trust? So we can meet those core values differently, but we have to meet the core values. We're all different, so we're going to go about them slightly differently. But if someone just simply does not believe in the core values of the company and they're hired into the team, that's going to start breaking down the team because they don't have the same core values for that business. And so it has less to do with personality and more to do with the core value fit within the organization. And then our signature assignment, I'm going to open up a day this week where anyone can just contact me and we can go over the signature assignment because right now we're on